I still don't know how to talk about this without my hands shaking. It's been months, and I still hear the mother's screams. The way her voice cracked, the way she called their names over and over again, like she could wake them up, like she could bring them back. I used to live in a small compound in Nigeria, the kind with multiple tenants and a shared yard. Everybody knew everybody's business. It wasn't a bad place, just normal. People left their doors open during the day. Kids ran around freely. And then one day, 3 children disappeared. Nobody knew how. Nobody knew why. But when we found them, we wished we never did. Let me start from the beginning. I used to live in a compound in the east, the kind with multiple tenants and a shared yard. If you've lived in Nigeria, you know the type. Small rooms, cracked walls, children running around barefoot, neighbors sitting outside in the evening gossiping over bottles of Coke. It wasn't a bad place, just normal. Auntie Joy was strict, but caring. She didn't let her kids roam too far. They had a routine. Wake up, pray, eat, go to school, come back, eat again, do homework, and sleep. If they weren't at home, they were at church. Simple. Before everything went wrong, Auntie Joy's family was one of the happiest in the compound. She was tall and always smiling, even when she was tired from school. She was studying to be a nurse, just like her husband, Uncle Emeka, who worked in another state. They made it work despite the distance. He sent money, he called often, and when he visited, you could see how much they all loved each other. Auntie Joy had 3 children. Mira was 12, the responsible one. She was always carrying Somto, the quiet 5-year-old, on her hip like a little mother. Then there was Ebuka, 9, the loud one, always running around and asking questions. They were good kids. They didn't cause trouble. They stayed in the compound and played with the other children. Even with how busy she was, Auntie Joy always made time for them. You'd hear her laughter in the evenings when she was home playing with them or helping Mira with homework. Their home was small but filled with warmth. But everything changed the day Auntie Joy's children disappeared. That Sunday morning was like any other. The sun was already high, casting sharp shadows on the compound floor. Auntie Joy had left early for church, rushing as usual because of her nursing school workload. The kids had stayed behind, Mira, Ebuka, and Somto. They were supposed to join the children's service later. I remember seeing them playing outside, barefoot, laughing as they chased each other around. Everything seemed normal. Then something small but strange happened. A youth corper who lived in the compound, Mr. Tunde, had called the kids over. He was friendly, the type that always had sweets in his pockets for them. That morning, he had bought ice cream and cake, a little celebration for finishing his service. He waved at me, smiling, before handing the treats to Mira. "I already told your mum over the phone," he said. "She said it's fine." I didn't think much of it. It was just ice cream, just cake. The kids took it excitedly and ran back toward their house. But they never got to eat it. A while later, I noticed their plates of food untouched sitting by the doorstep. Their slippers were still outside, lined up neatly. That was odd. The kids never left their food like that. At first, I thought they had gone to church, but something didn't feel right. By evening, when Auntie Joy came home and couldn't find them, the tension in the compound shifted. Neighbors were asking each other if they'd seen the children. No one had. No one except for one girl who hesitated before speaking. "I saw them," she said slowly, eyes darting around. "With 2 boys, older boys, maybe 20 years old. They went into the house." She pointed to Auntie Joy's door. A cold chill ran through my body. The house had been empty all day, or at least we thought it had been. Auntie Joy's face twisted in confusion. "Inside? But are you sure?" The girl hesitated, her eyes wide. "Yes, I saw them go in. But after that, I didn't see them leave." Auntie Joy's brow furrowed, and a shiver ran down my spine. How could they have gone inside without anyone hearing? We all knew those kids. They weren't the type to be silent. They were loud, always running around, laughing. "I don't understand," Auntie Joy murmured. "Why didn't they come out? Why didn't anyone see them after that?" She stood frozen for a moment before bolting toward the door. The rest of us stood there, unsure of what to do or say. Auntie Joy threw open the door, but the house was eerily quiet. No children, no noise. She walked inside, calling their names, her voice growing more desperate with every passing second. "Mira, Abuka, Somto." I followed her inside, and we searched the rooms together. The children's clothes were neatly folded in their baskets, their toys untouched. The house was unnervingly clean, too clean for kids who were supposed to be playing. It felt wrong. We scoured every inch of the house, checked the closets, and peered behind the curtains. Nothing. Then Auntie Joy's face paled even more. She turned back to the door, her eyes scanning the compound. "They're not here. They didn't leave the house, so where are they?" she asked, her voice trembling. By this point, the neighbors were already gathering around the house, murmuring to each other. Someone suggested we go to the church. Maybe the kids had gone there, as they sometimes did after school, for their youth program. Auntie Joy didn't hesitate. She rushed to the church, almost as if she were running from something. I followed her, trying to keep up with her frantic pace. When we arrived, the church was empty. The youth program was over, and the building felt hollow, its empty pews staring back at us. Auntie Joy asked the few people around if they'd seen her kids. No one had. A few of the elders whispered to each other, giving concerned looks, but no one seemed to have any answers. "I don't understand," she said, her voice breaking. "They always go there after school. Why aren't they here?" I felt a knot form in my stomach. This wasn't right. The Reverend Father, who had been standing nearby, approached us with a solemn expression. "You've checked everywhere, Joy?" "Yes," she replied, shaking her head. "They should be here, but they're not." The Reverend Father placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's not uncommon for children to wander off sometimes. Let's go back to your house and continue looking there. We'll help." When we returned to the compound, the police had arrived. They took statements from Auntie Joy, asking all the usual questions. Where had the children gone? Had they been upset? Did they have any reason to leave the house? Auntie Joy was too distraught to speak coherently, but she kept repeating one thing. They didn't leave. They didn't leave the house. The police officer listened carefully and then asked us to check again. "Maybe you missed something," he suggested. We all went inside again, this time with the officer. He methodically searched each room while Auntie Joy stood at the doorway, her hand over her mouth, crying with the hopes of finding her kids. We finally got to the kitchen, and it wasn't just the cold that hit us. It was something else, something wrong. The air around the fridge was unnaturally cold, the kind of cold that sinks into your bones. I took a step closer, and my eyes locked onto the freezer. It felt like it was watching me, as though something inside was waiting. Then the smell hit me. A sour, metallic scent that made my stomach twist. I froze. My hand gripped the door frame as the others slowly closed in around me. The smell was overpowering, something that shouldn't have been coming from a kitchen at all. Something didn't add up. I glanced over at the others, their faces mirroring the same fear I felt crawling up my spine, but none of us could turn back now. We had to open it. I slowly pulled the freezer open, the sound of the door creaking in the silence of the room. And then I saw something extremely disturbing. We all stood frozen, eyes wide, hands shaking. But there was no time to waste. The air felt thick around us, and the temperature in the room seemed to drop even further. The smell was unbearable now, but we couldn't move. I turned to the others, my voice trembling. "We need to tell Auntie Joy. She has to know. She's her mother."